Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Average joGamer podcast. We're here. We made it 2 weeks in a row. Let's get into it. Welcome to the second episode of Average joGamer podcast. Today, we're going to be following up with last week's This Day in Gaming History, where we talked about Tiger Woods 99 with some Easter eggs. I'm going to let you know what happened there. We're going to touch on what happened in this day in gaming history, which is, as of recording, is of January 21st, 2025. So we're going to look at other things that happened on January 21st in the past. I'm going to give you some updates on Galaxy of Heroes, what I'm wanting to play, and that'll be it. So, let's get into it. We're going to start with this day in gaming history. Right now, as of recording, it's January 21st. So, looking back over the years, what's been going on? In 1998, Resident Evil 2, 27 years ago, was released for the PlayStation 1. This is obviously a huge follow-up to Resident Evil 1, which came out for the PlayStation 1, blew everything out of the water. I mean, the Resident Evil 1, personally, for me, is my favorite, but Resident Evil 2 really made it into a franchise. Like, the first one, it's kind of a contained story. It could have been ended right there. It gives you a little bit of tease on things, but it could have ended right there. Resident Evil 2, they just expanded it in every way. Resident Evil 1, again, set in a mansion. Resident Evil 2, you got the whole Raccoon City that you're going through. They put it on the 2 discs. You know, you have your Leon disc, your Claire disc. Just a phenomenal game. Then 1 year later, which is 26 years ago, Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64 was released. Again, you know, it's Mario, so it's going to turn into a franchise anyway, and it's going to be successful anyway. But Super Smash Brothers, I mean, it took over fighting games. Yeah, and sometimes you don't think about it. You don't think about, like, Mario Kart is, like, the most successful racing game. Or you don't really think of Smash Brothers sometimes as the successful fighter. You think of, like, Street Fighter and all that other stuff. But, you know, money-wise and popularity-wise, Smash Brothers is huge. So that was released in 99. Then, 10 years later, we have in 2009, Skate 2 was released. Just recently, EA finally said that they're going to make another Skate, so we're looking forward to that. I signed up, I think, for testing on that, but never got anything official. I don't know if it's just because it hasn't started yet or what, but we'll see if I can get into that. That was 16 years ago. That's PS3 360. And then just 4 years ago, back to Resident Evil Village, also known as Resident Evil 8, was released for the PlayStation 5. This is kind of like in the middle of Resident Evil's revamp, right? So they had Resident Evil 6. Well, let's go back even more. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 is the PlayStation trilogy, right? And then you have 4, 5, and 6. 4, and there were things in between, like Code Veronica and stuff, but 4 was when they kind of refreshed the formula. They weren't doing the tank controls anymore. They ended up doing an over-the-shoulder camera, which just redefined gaming, literally. I mean, so many games use that style and that control after that. So then it was a little bit more action-y, less horror-y, but the horror was already kind of leaving even in Resident Evil 3. So then you have 5, right? So the first trilogy, PlayStation 1 through 3. Then 4, 5, 6 is a little bit more action-oriented. 5 is more action than 4. 5 also was the first co-op Resident Evil, and I actually love it. As a co-op, I loved it. Had a blast. And then 6 is where it jumped the shark. It went overboard. Way too much action. Way too much story. Way too much, in a bad way, story. Just too much. So the reason I bring that up with Village is because 7 and 8 are the latest trilogy, and it was kind of a beginning of a trilogy, and it was kind of a reset. Just like 4 was almost like a reset. it's still a continuation of the story, but what they do gameplay wise is a reset. So seven kind of went back to basics. It went back to being scary again, and then you have Village. Village is almost like a Resident Evil 4, where it takes the scary that's still there, but it kind of ramps it up a little bit with action. So Village was a fantastic game. I absolutely loved it. My only regret with that is I played 7 for the first time. I played that in VR. And it's one of those moments in gaming that I'll just never forget. It's like the first time you saw 3D games, the first time you saw Mario Brothers platformer, like the first time that I really fully played a VR game, especially since it's Resident Evil, which is my favorite franchise, was just an awesome experience. And Resident Evil 8, or Village, when it first came out, was not in VR. Kind of bummed me out. Then later they released it on VR, and I actually haven't played it in VR yet. But I kind of wish that my first experience with Village would have been in VR. But anyway, that is what happened on January 21st throughout the year in gaming history. Now, to follow up in gaming history, last week, in episode 1 of the Average Joe Gamer podcast, which you should now be able to find everywhere, we talked about how in Tiger Woods 99 PGA Tour Golf for the PlayStation, there was a hidden Easter egg, I guess. I don't know if it was really meant to be an Easter egg, but it turns out to be. Someone put a clip of South Park, The Spirit of Christmas, on the PlayStation 1 disc of Tiger Woods. You couldn't access this on the PS1. You had to access it on the computer. People were able to find it. So apparently what happened was, if you look in the directories, if you have the right, barcode, whatever, you can put it on your computer and look for a file that was named zzDummy.dat. And when you play it, I think you can use QuickTime. I used the VLC because it's 2025, so I wasn't using QuickTime. But yeah, if you have that zzDummy.dat on your disc, then you have the episode that has South Park. Now, 100,000 discs were recalled because of this. So I don't really know how rare it is to have one of these or not. I mean, people that buy them aren't going to return them. The stores probably didn't really care either. And then, by the time that these things are sold, who knows? So, yeah, you might, if you happen to see a edition of Tiger Woods 99, you can actually look up the barcode of what might have it and get lucky. I got lucky. That was totally random. It just so happened to be that I started this podcast, last week, and it just so happened to be the day in gaming history that popped up. How random it is that I even had that version, or even had that game. I mean, I bought that at the video game store for probably like $1. And I kind of just did it because I like the Tiger Woods sports games anyways, and kind of wanted to have one per generation. I like to kind of have a sports style, at least one sports style per generation of gaming. So yeah, it was just kind of fun to go through that and find that. I guess I'll post proof like on my Instagram or something, just to show it. But I FaceTimed a buddy and showed him, and it was a fun thing to go through. Okay, so that does it for this day in gaming history. Next up, what have I been doing? Well, not a whole lot, unfortunately. So I don't have an update on the Star Wars games that I haven't even started yet. So, I'm sorry, not Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings games. So hopefully I'll start to stream those. But other things have been popping up, obviously, into the backlog. Maybe I should just post a backlog somewhere or do a new segment of what's new to my backlog. Because of just conversations at work. I want to play, and again, this day in gaming, so it's in the air. It's just in the atmosphere. Resident Evil Remake, the Resident Evil 1 Remake. I'm kind of itching to play that now. But I want to try not to because I want to do the Lord of the Rings games first. So it's on the backlog. Other games that are kind of popping in my head. Destiny a little bit, maybe. Probably not. But again, just at work, we've been talking about raiding and multiplayer games, co-op kind of games, and so I was just having a big conversation today about um, doing MMOs and interacting with people, and then the discords of writing down the strats and all that stuff, which is what I did in my own Discord. I had a Destiny section, or have a Destiny section, and we would post strats and share strats of what to do in certain areas. What weapons to use, what burns to use, all that good stuff. So I think that part of it is what I mainly miss. So it's just kind of fun talking about that today. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to drag me into playing that game again. That kind of aspect was kind of fun. It was something to do, all the time. But other things that I am doing at the moment is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Obviously, like I said last time, that's something that I touch on every day. So I can tell you a little bit more about what's new there. Not new to me, but new to the listener here. We did, I say we because it's a group of 4 of me. A group of 4 of my friends, myself and 3 friends, that kind of move together if we do move guilds. We're into a new guild now. That guild is definitely better than where we were. I just don't want to talk trash about where we were because there was nothing wrong with where we were. It was just more of a laid-back guild. So guild history, there's a lot. But basically, not the last guild, but the guild before that, we had a great group of people. Had a falling out with one of the officers there, which happens. That's fine. But through that, me and my 3 friends left that guild and found a more laid-back guild. But it was getting better rewards. So it was like a move up. It was like a step up, 2 steps up, 1 step down kind of thing. But through us leaving, ended up making a buddy from the former guild and talked to them more often, and just kept in touch. Didn't talk, we didn't talk like every week or anything like that, but just kept in touch every so often about how's the raid going, how's the guild going, et cetera, and then finally just said, hey, we were invited to join their guild. So we did that recently, and just we're all 4 of us are loving life. It's there's accountability, there is actual reminders, and people are helping each other out. It's a nice Discord, and yeah, we're enjoying it. We are currently farming Mandalore, which is Bo-Katan. So again, if you don't play the game, like I said last week, it's kind of a character collector game, right? So certain characters are locked behind other characters. So Bo-Katan, for example, when I say Mandalore farm, Bo-Katan, you actually have to have 4 other characters to be able to unlock Bo-Katan, which is Kelleron Beck, Paz Vizsla, IG-12 and Grogu, and then Beskar Armor Mandalorian. Once you have all 4 of them unlocked and up to Relic 7, which is like if you upgrade all your gear, you upgrade gear to your max gear level, then you relic a character, then you can relic them up to 9 as of right now. But so if you get them all up to 7, you'll be able to unlock Bo-Katan. That's what I'm working on. Like I said, I have 2 of them done. I just finished Kelleron Beck. I got Beskar Mandalorian done a couple weeks ago. But the Kelleron Beck is a fun one because it basically just created a new team for me, because I was able to put on the Omicron, which is Omicrons are basically like special. It takes a special move, I guess, or special ability unlock, and it depends on a certain situation. So there's territory wars, there's territory battles, there's raids, there's conquests, there's challenges. Kelleron Beck's Omicron is a territory war Omicron, so it helps him out in territory wars, which is the guild versus guild PvP. So since I was able to put all that on there, Well, now I have a new team that I didn't really use before because I have Killer on Beck, and then I'm going to support him with other Jedi like Mace Windu, Jedi Knight Anakin, Cam, and probably Barriss Offrey, and I'll have a new team now. So that's kind of cool. That also helps me out with the raid. I was getting around like 2.7 mil in the raid, and I shot all the way up to, I don't know, what was it, like 3.2 or 3.4 or something like that. So I got the 3 million personal reward, and then also I got my newest high score. So that's always fun to do. It's nice when you're farming something where it helps out in multiple areas, and that's what this did. This is going to help out in Territory War. This is going to help me out in GAC because it's going to give me another team. And then it helped me out currently in the raid for however long this raid lasts. So that's fun. My other major farm is Ahsoka, which I'm as far as I can be without paying. So, like right now, I have everything done except for the people that aren't farmable, except for Sabine. Sabine recently became farmable, so I can start farming her now. And then once I get her to 7-star, then I'll bring her up. Yeah. So that's new with Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Oh, another tidbit. I'm thinking, maybe, if they're down for it, the buddy that got us into our current guild, maybe I'll have him on here one day. And we can talk and kind of interview, I can kind of interview him and ask him questions about Galaxy Heroes and whatever else he's into. And so I think that would be fun. I think if I can get, any of my friends, if they want to get on here and just kind of chit-chat about what they like in gaming or whatever, maybe we'll do that. I'm not going to force anyone to, but if they want to, that would be cool. Yeah. So that's it. Other entertaining stuff. My wife and I started The Pit on Amazon, which I think is only 15 episodes. It's basically ER. But the way that I think they have it set up is that the entire season is one work day at the hospital, and each episode is 1 hour for that day. So it'd be the one season of 15 episodes would be a 15-hour shift. So we started episode 1 a couple days ago, and we both actually really enjoyed it, so we're going to keep going. And I guess I'm watching that show now. Movies, I haven't really dove into anything yet. My music player, I am adding some music to that. Like I went to a used bookstore the other day and added a bunch of things to that. Another entertainment kind of style conversation that we can have is I went to Goodwill the other day, as I do sometimes. Any kind of a thrift store, just Goodwill happens to be, they're everywhere. Went to Goodwill, just kind of walk around for a minute and see if there was anything crazy, and turned out there were like over 200 to 300 laser discs at Goodwill. I don't know about y'all's local Goodwill. That doesn't happen in any of my Goodwills I've ever been to. I mean, they don't even advertise laser discs on their thing. They advertise, VHS will be, $1. DVDs are $2. They'll have video games and all this other stuff, but laser discs, no. So I don't know what happened there. Someone was getting rid of their entire collection, or someone, unfortunately passed away and they're emptying out the house. Someone's emptying out the house, but it was just kind of fun because it was, those kind of conversations pop up because you see other people that are looking at them, and then one guy was really into him. He's talking about how he has like some $3,000 player that was made in Japan only, but he's naming like the model and he's naming all this information on it, so I kind of believed him. And then also he's talking about these discs and he's just adding. I mean, like when I left, he probably had 50 in his cart because he's either going to keep them or he's going to flip them, and he didn't want anyone else to buy them because the way that he was talking, he was like, oh yeah, you don't want these are, they're too expensive for the price, and which he might be right, I don't know. They were $5 per laser disc. It didn't seem that crazy of a price to me. I mean, when you look up on eBay, people are generally trying to get $5, $10, $20 for a laser disc. So it didn't seem that bad to me, but it was still, whether he's trying to flip them or not, he still kind of knew a little bit what he was talking about. So it was interesting to talk to him about it. And then there were just some other people there like me that were just kind of, it was just cool to look at them. I'm into all that kind of crap. I don't have a Laserdisc player. I would love to have one day, but I'm not going to sit there and spend a lot of money on a Laserdisc player. But I do have a couple Laserdiscs just for fun. I mean, if you slap a Jurassic Park logo on there, I'm going to get it. So I have Jurassic Park, and I think I have a Star Wars on Laserdisc. I can't remember which one. I'm pretty sure it was Empire. And then there I picked up Once Upon a Time in the West and Once Upon a Time in New York. So that was kind of a fun thing to randomly see. But other than that, that's about it. It's kind of a shorter episode this go round. But again, I just want to kind of keep this going. I do want to get some of these games playing so I can talk to about them a little bit more, or maybe I'll just pick a game in history that I really like and talk about that. I mean, that could be, Resident Evil games, Final Fantasy games, obviously Galaxy Heroes. I can get into more history of that. Weekly, we still will be doing our This Day in Gaming History. And, yeah, I'll just try and expand on some stuff a little bit more, but just wanted to get this out there. Follow up from last week and keep it going. Oh, actually, no, there is some more. I did say that I was going to mention photography, so I did do some photography last week. Skyline Drive, which is Shenandoah National Park. There's Skyline Drive that you can drive. Snowed where we were recently, so I wanted to drive over there to try and get some snow photos. I wanted specifically to get a sunrise with no clouds, with the snow on the ground. I think that would have been a cool photo. Wasn't able to get that. There was too much cloud coverage, but it was still nice to be out there where it's so quiet. But the fun part about that was that I get there, and originally they said that they were going to be closing at 5 p.m. because of the icy conditions. So, okay, so I'm getting there at, 6 a.m. And I'm just driving around, and I'm going the normal speed limit. And then, because the roads were fine where I was at, and then there's a downhill, and I kind of hit the brakes a little bit, and the car's just like, nope, you're not stopping. It kind of skids a little bit, so I pumped the brakes. It wasn't anything too scary where I actually thought that something bad was going to happen, but it was still just a moment of like, okay, let's not even go the speed limit. Let's drop this back down to like, the rest of the trip I was doing like 10 to 15 miles per hour. Because it was definitely skidding. Even when I was trying to turn, it was skidding. Just a nice little wake-up call, I guess, early in the morning. And then at like around 7:30 or 8 in the morning, I'm still there, and I get a text message update saying that they've closed the park, which I've never been inside the park when it's closed. Drove to the exit, not immediately, but I drove to the exit, and the gates are down. So that kind of freaked me out for like a second. But then, you can see clearly that they closed the gates, but they don't lock you in. They can't lock you in. So they just moved the gate and then got out of there. But it was fun to get out and take pictures again. I will also be putting those onto my Photos by Joe B Instagram. If I do the South Park episode, that'll be on the Average Joe Gamer Instagram. Remember, I have one that's gaming related, and then I have one that's just landscapes and portraits and stuff. So I'll be doing that soon. Not a whole lot. I didn't really get a whole lot of photos of Shenandoah that I enjoyed, but it was still peaceful to be there. It was fun to be there, and I might do it again this weekend if there's no cloud coverage, to try and get that shot of the sun coming out and glistening over the snow there. But yeah. Thanks again for watching or listening. I'm sorry. And then next week we'll be back. I'm going to try and get these to be dropping on either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm late this week because last night I had to work late. There was a 2-hour delay in school, so I had to stay at work 2 hours late. So I want to try to get on a schedule of maybe recording these like on a Monday and then releasing them on a Tuesday. That would feel good for me. But we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for next week where we do some more video game history. We dive a little bit deeper into some of these other subjects. And yeah, thank you so much. Take care.